All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Lasting Learning Podcast. I am so glad that you stumbled upon it this week. This week is going to be epic. It's going to be absolutely amazing. As a former middle school person, I'm not a former middle school person. Once you're a middle school person, you are always a middle school person. So as a middle school person, a guy who spent his first 7 years teaching at a middle school, a guy who spent another 3 years as an AP and another 4 years as a middle school principal, a guy that just lives and breathes those stinky, weird adolescent kids and loves every single minute of it. I am pumped to have our guest with us today. Today, we have a guy that loves that energy as much as I do. We've got a guy here who loves shaking the status quo, pushing boundaries, and truly trying to bring about a revolution. Today, we've got Derek McCoy here just to bring some truth to us, let us know what's happening in schools, what's happening with him, and where we need to be going next. So Derek, thanks for being here.
You know what? Thanks so much for having me here. And wow, I'm a little intimidated by your introduction, man. That's right there now. I'm on the edge of my seat to talk to you.
I bring that bar up here, and now it's up to you to get there. So do what you can.
We're gonna try.
Derek, there might be a couple of people in the world that are listening that don't quite know your story yet. I don't know who they are or how that's possible, but who knows? Do you mind just taking a couple minutes, introducing yourself? Tell us what you're up to, who you are, what makes you tick, and what got you here.
First, you know what? You're just too kind with that one. Just a couple people in the world, whatever. But truly, I'm thankful for being here, and again, thank you for this invitation. You know, we're not always blessed to make connections with people, and that's one of the fortunate things that we do is we're about connecting. And so thanks again for reaching out.
Sure.
My name is Derek McCoy. This is year 24 for me in education. And I started in the middle. It starts in the middle.
Right.
And I got, if you can remind me, I got a funny story to tell you later about it starts in the middle. But anyway, I was a middle school math teacher for 8.5 years. I was an instructional coach at the middle school level, AP at the middle school level, and then 2 years at a high school. But then I came back and did 9 years as a middle school principal. And I'm gonna tell you, just a couple things happened that really made me turn my perspective about middle school. So number one, had a great model for a principal and Sandra DeShazer, and she showed me truly the value of a middle school teacher getting out of management mindset into a relationship building mindset. I saw kids who were running up to her to wait to get talk to her. And I was like, wow, that's not, I don't want to just be that kind of principal. I want to be that kind of person. Because she was unlocking things. I mean, she was unleashing potential. And so that just kind of set me on my path. And yes, I met a lot of other influential leaders throughout my career. And I can't give them all credit, but she really started me on that course. And then the second thing that happened was I joined Twitter. Mm-hmm. And it's like, mind blown. Actually, I hit my 10-year anniversary this year.
Wow. Right.
And it's like Sylvia Duckworth has that Twitter visual that at a point she hit a slump and then she joined Twitter. Then it's got her productivity and her understanding shot up. That's what happened to me. I started connecting with people who just pushed me and challenged my thinking. And truly, man, I started looking at, hey, I already love middle school, and I know we can do stuff, but really, do I love middle school? Am I loving middle school? Am I doing good for kids, or am I doing good for adults? So, that just started to bend to me going back to my principal, and that's her relationship building and saying, hey, I'm gonna trust y'all. We're gonna do some great things, and that's what we've seen. So that's been a good part. It's not just changing K-12, but changing middle school as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good. There's a lot of truth there. And you say you started off as a teacher and you worked your way around and found yourself as a middle school principal for, you said 9 years, right? And it's a job
Right.
that I had as well. And quite honestly, probably my favorite job ever was being a middle school principal, because those kids are kids that are just so amazing. You can do anything you want to with middle school kids, and they're just going to latch on and love it. They're little kids that want to be adults. And often, the adults that work in those buildings are the same way. They are
Right.
extremely immature, but very professional at the same time.
Right.
And it's that sweet spot. And I say that because you are a guy that I think resonates with that as well. You're a guy that likes to just push boundaries and try new things and say, whatever happens, man, let's just go along for the ride. And it's refreshing to see leadership that does that. Is that always been you? Have you always been a guy that's embraced change, or is that?
Oh, so okay. So first question, home run. That's awesome. So no, it really wasn't. I really have not been the person that I am right now. And when I got into teaching, I was absolutely the manager, desk in rows, do truly everything that we said in our book, The Revolution, that we need to get teachers out of. It could have just been a blueprint for what Derek did for the first 2 years
Right.
in the class.
Yeah.
You know, not just ban cell phones, but cell phones in the classroom and the school are the devil. You know, just so
Yep.
we just technology had its place.
But it wasn't
Technology
just
was
the
something.
classroom, right?
That's right. Technology was a place you went to, not something you integrated.
Exactly. Keep it in the lab.
It wasn't a belief, or it wasn't something that empowered learners.
Yeah.
And learners had their kids had their place. 11, 12-year-olds, they had their place. I was the one. I was the most important person in my room. So no, it took a lot of people to break me down out of that. My first principal, and she's a great she's a great friend right now. We were just talking the other day. We were literally talking last week on the phone, and I've known her 20 plus years. But another leader, Dr. Donna Peters. She's an intense visionary and an intense relationship builder, and she showed me the value of not being happy with the spot on the floor that you have cleaned. So you always got to keep moving, and stuff is gonna, and you always got to keep moving forward. If you think about it, looking down the hallway, you clean the spot that you're in, but there's gonna be some dirt down the hallway. Get ready for it. Now, don't lose your marbles. Just get ready for it and clean it. Do what you got to do. And remember why we raised. She has a saying, Dr. Donna Peters. Remember why you raised your hand. Nobody asked you to be a teacher. You raised your hand, and when you raised your hand, you agreed to serve learners, not yourself, not the teachers you had, but you agreed to serve the kids in front of you. So you got to do right by them. And that's tremendous. So all those conversations, and then of course the stuff on Twitter. I mean, I can't even just nail it down to one person, but just all the Twitter chats and all the conversations. It really just put me out of my comfort zone of management to leader, then to agitator, then to bear poker. Just I'm gonna poke this bear a little bit, or like you said, what if what if we developed a schedule where kids could pick their own classes for half a day? What if we did that? Middle school kids they'll burn it down. Whatever,
Right.
We got great kids, but it'll be fine. So yeah, it's and I'm proud of my journey, and I know other people's journey is going to be different, but their journeys. But everybody has to have that journey, because we got to unlearn our stuff in order to make it about the kids so that they can realize and get the best.
It's powerful stuff that you're saying there, and I appreciate that vulnerability to say, what you were is not who you are. Yeah, it's something that I can relate to tremendously. You said your first couple of years. I would say my first decade, I was that guy. You know, I was the guy that, as a teacher, I thought I had all the answers. I thought I was God's gift to those kids. I was the expert and all these. I mean, the fact that 12-year-olds were feeding my ego because I was this expert, you know, it was
Boom.
crazy. But that's what it was. I had 12-year-olds that were blowing my head up. So then when I moved into administration, thinking, well, the only reason I got this job is because of how good I was. So everybody else just needs to keep doing things the way that I did them, and they'll be amazing too. And it was ridiculous. I mean, I remember my first assistant principalship, I went into a middle school that was rocking. And talk about student choice, they had 58 electives for kids to choose from. 58 in a middle
Wow.
school, because they said, we're just going to have everything possible for kids. I went in there and just thought it was the craziest, dumbest idea ever, because it wasn't what I was used to. But man, those kids ate it up. And that was my conversion, if you will. That was my baptism into the revolution, where I started saying, wow, there
Right.
are different ways to do things. And there's been no turning back for me. Now, you
Yeah.
kind of talk about, you've had all these inspirational people that kind of empowered you, and I'm sure gave you some difficult feedback at time to turn you into, you described yourself, I'm looking at my notes here, as an agitator before you became a revolutionary, and you poked the bear.
Right.
I want to talk about that a little bit, because poking the bears can get dangerous. Sometimes you poke the bear too much, the bear gets mad and starts to fight back. So how do you determine when to poke, when to run, which hill to die on, which hill to stay away from?
That is so.
That's a question,
Yes,
right?
that's it. That's it. And there's no good answer for it. There's no pat answer. There's no safe answer for it. And I have to preface that with that, because we look for, how can I safely bring about this tremendous change, or how can I safely make this shift? And there's no safe way to do it. The best advice that I give people, and I'll answer your question, but
No, you're
really the
good.
best advice I give people regarding that is take care of people. Take care of people, take care of your relationships. Make sure that you let people know that they are the most important thing in the school. Teachers have to know that they're the most important things in the school. But we're there to serve kids. We're there to do right by kids. So we're not there to make adults happy. We're there to do the best for learning and do the best for the learners. So you mentioned, you were like that your first 8 years of teaching. I will say that I was like that during the first X amount of time in every new job title I got.
Oh, wow.
So as a teacher, I was like that at the beginning. Then I became an assistant. Then as an instructional coach, I was only that for 2 years. But even at the beginning, I was like, well, I'm going to be everybody's friend. Forget that. We're about the learners. Then as an AP, I got with principals who were that management mindset. When not so really. My first principal was that management mindset. My second principal, he was more of the relationship builder, and we're there for the kids. Just embracing doing things different. And then definitely as a principal, playing it safe, making adults happy. And by adults, I mean teachers, not rocking that boat, district office, that's not safe, that's not this. But then at the end of the day, can you sleep at night knowing that you didn't ask that tough question, or that you didn't make that push, or that you didn't trust that kids can do what you envisioned? So every time I had that, I think I set that off, and that's either my insecurities or the job or whatever it is. So whenever it happens, just understand that that's a cycle, and we're all going to go through it, and it happens. But the best way to get out of that is by keeping network connecting. For me, it's my PLN, my professional learning network. I got friends, man. I'm like, guys, I'm going through this, and some of them are just so supportive, like, oh, Derek, it's okay, it's all cool, blah, 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 blah. And then I got others who are like, man, what are you talking about? Just get over yourself, that kind of thing. So it's about committing to the learners, Now, um, how have I been? How have I kept that about the learners over the years? I would say that I let adults know that I care about them tremendously,
Hmm.
and um, if you're going through it, I'm going through it, and I'm in the classrooms. I'm in the classrooms. I'm co-teaching. Um, it's going to be whatever. I'm sorry, I just hear something in the background.
You okay?
we're, it's it's going to be. I'm in the classrooms. We're co-teaching. I'm gonna model for you how I can. I model in PD what I want you to do in the classrooms. But then we need to see that. Then we need to see the learners do that. And then here's why. Let's embrace the messy. We talk about it in the revolution. Embrace the risk. Learn through failure. How new? Tell the truth. How new is that? How new is learn through failure in schools? When I was coming up, never. It was
Right.
either you're either successful or you are a failure, and
Yep.
failure is the wrong thing. As opposed to that's your first iteration. So keep working through it.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I think you nail some stuff there when you talk about the idea of relationships and making sure that people know that it's safe to take those risks and take those chances.
Right.
And
Right.
you're in it for the kids. You're not in it to hurt adults. You are in it to help kids. And those two things don't always have to be the yin and the yang in conflict with each other. And
Right.
one of the things that it's always been a challenge for me, and I imagine it's a challenge for you too. When you say every new job, so there's been some transitions, and I've had some transitions as well. And sometimes those transitions happen because you realize that you can go do more, and maybe sometimes those transitions happen because you think, okay, I've excuse my language, if I pissed off enough people here, let's go somewhere else and try to poke some more bears. But one of the things I've started to learn is that when I come in with my own ego and my own guns ablazing, with my own recipe for
Right.
success, before I even assess the situation, that's when you're going to tick some people off. I've become a firm believer now that if you get people to weigh in, you don't have to work on trying to get buy-in. And I hear that from you. You go into those classrooms, you're making those connections with people, trying to get people to realize you're on their side and that you need them to take that next step. Derek McCoy can't do anything on his own in a school. You need your recruiting allies
Without a doubt.
all the way along,
Without a
right?
doubt. Without a doubt. And so my last two schools, my last school in North Carolina, I I, I was I landed that principalship a year after I got National Digital Principal of the Year. So when people were researching me, they were like, "Oh, he's all technology and he's all this, he's
Yeah,
all that."
yeah,
So I, we gotta show up. Everybody has to do PowerPoint every day. Okay.
yeah.
And then this school kind of, and then my last school here in Georgia, kind of the same. But it's I start off. I personally start off every um, my conversation at every new school I begin. Tell me something you're proud of the school. Tell me something that I need to know.
Mhm.
Tell me something that we need to stop doing.
Yeah.
You know. Um, okay, cool. And then that's it. No sweeping changes. Nothing big is gonna happen. I'm just gonna walk around, and you're really gonna see me talk. You're really gonna see me care about you, and but then also expect that my caring about you, I can care about you and push you at the same time.
Hmm.
I get that. We all get that. That's what growth is.
Hmm.
Um,
I would
in the
argue that's the
book,
only way to care about someone is if you're pushing
yeah,
at the same time.
that's right. That's exactly. Caring about someone is not just letting you sit on the sofa all day long. Hey, let's get up and take a walk. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in the book, we talk about what keeps that from realizing some great potential is a mindset. So two things: a mindset shift and then a culture shift. The mindset shift is we have grown up to believe that the teacher is the most important person,
There you go.
and in truth, we got to have teachers. So they're very important. But our reason for being there is kids.
Yep.
Kids are the reason. So we can't hold our old model of the school we went to and classrooms that we had as the pinnacle for what we need to give our kids. because our kids can and need to do so much different, so much better.
So,
Go
so
on.
as a leader, and you are a leader in what you're doing right now. I'm sure you get people that push back and say, "But school was good enough for me. I mean, look at me. I'm successful. The old way still it worked because look at what it created. Are you telling me
You're
that I'm
exactly
not
right.
good enough?"
You're exactly right. No, as a matter of fact, I embrace your greatness. Please come share some of it with us. You're exactly right. But your training was for a day when the world was not open, when information, I mean, when every piece of information that you need to know is a couple of clicks away on your cell phone,
That's right.
you know? Um, and I, so you aren't the same learner or have the same opportunities and capabilities that 11, 12, and 13-year-olds have right now in the school. For us, learning was in that book. Now, the world of information is just a Google search. It's just a web search away, I should say. It's just a web search away. So with that comes possibility. That's an opportunity to empower learners. That's an opportunity to change what we do fundamentally so that we can get the best from learners. So yeah, your greatness came from a textbook era. That textbook preparation will not work in 2019 when our kids got to solve the plastics problem in the ocean, when they got to solve the pollution problems that we created, when we got to solve our societal get along issues.
Mm-hmm.
That textbook mastery that you got, and it's undeniable. I bow to you. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. Um, you got it, but that's not going to serve our kids. So that has to evolve because our time has evolved and
I,
our capabilities evolved.
that is a great answer. I'm gonna give you one more and see how you can respond to this, because this is a real question that came to me about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I was sharing with another adult and made a speech very similar to yours. You said yours way more eloquently than I did, so I'll give you credit for that. But basically, talked about how it's a different age and different time. We got to be preparing our kids for a different world. And this person pushed back and said, "But I don't like the world that we're creating right now. I'm not a fan of the way things are going. I want us to go back to the way things were 20, 30, 40 years ago." And they said, "I feel like it's my responsibility to help create kids that would be that would live in the same kind of world that we used to live in. I don't want to set them up down this path that we're going on." And I looked at them and said, "Huh, okay." And I had a response. And there might be some people out there listening right now that are feeling the same way, that they're fearful of what we're creating, and that we should not be encouraging this type of mindset and this change. And I don't know. What would you say to that? Do you have a response, or you want me to share what I did?
I, I absolutely want you to share what you did. What did you do? What did you do?
Well, first I said, "Wow, that's impressive." But then I looked at this person
Yeah, it was.
and I looked at this person and said, the world that you're describing right now that you're not a fan of has nothing to do with what these kids are doing. This is the world that you and I created. And this is a person that was also in their 40s. I said, "You and I are responsible for this world. And I want to help create kids that can make this world even better than the world that you and I screwed up. You and I came from the age of textbooks. You and I came from the world of the 70s and 80s. And look at what's happened to it. So let's help give these kids some skills that we didn't have. Let's give them some problem solving that we didn't have. Let's give them some innovation that we didn't have, so they can fix the mess that we created."
Awesome. Very good. Very good. That's cool. That's a great answer. So I think I would just say that just a little bit differently because you and I are different people. So
Yeah, bring it.
um, so when I give a talk similar to this, I like to. Now I'm not a gearhead. I'm not a mechanic by any means, but I don't know why this analogy just sticks with me. But remember in the late '80s when they stopped making carburetors in
Oh, yeah.
cars,
Yep.
and then they went to fuel injection systems.
Hmm.
So um, that's it. They stopped making carburetors. I like working on carburetors and using a WD-40 to get the valve open and moving and whatnot, and just hearing that engine work. And I was good at working at a carburetor now Chevrolet. They don't make the carburetor anymore. That world is done. That world. So it doesn't matter that I like that carburetor or that carburetor worked in. We have something we've improved that.
Mm-hmm.
We are improving. The one thing, so we can't get those mechanics back. So the technology,
Mm-hmm.
we have to embrace new technology and new capabilities. And we always have to be ready to look at what can we do better,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise we're just sitting on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
We have to always, and we have to be honest about that question. Now, so the carburetor's done. So I can't focus on the carburetor. What I can focus on is, hey, I can learn about a fuel injection system in cars.
Yeah.
So that's what we can do with kids. We can't teach kids carburetors, but we can teach kids the value of learning something about that car.
Yep.
All right. We can teach them to teach them the value of learning. Hey, I got this, but you know what? Tomorrow I might need to learn something else, and I'm okay with learning something else. Teaching kids the value of being lifelong learners. Because we teach them the value of being lifelong learners. It doesn't matter if it's a carburetor, fuel injection system, anti-gravity car, the Tony Stark's flying car, whatever. It doesn't matter what you put in there. It doesn't matter what it is. They're going to have a need and a drive to be lifelong learners, and they're going to learn and appreciate and learn what they need to learn to be successful with whatever's in front of them. That's what the deal is. We can't get hung up on the thing. We have to be hung up on that lifelong learning piece.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that I appreciate about you is you don't just sit there and preach to the kids. You challenge teachers and educators to think the same way. You want educators to be those lifelong learners and to embrace innovation and change and trying new things. But former principal speaking, how would you handle teachers that worked with you, for you, when they were acting as an agitator or a revolutionary, and they were constantly questioning the way things were? Would you embrace that, or would you try to keep them within a box?
So they were questioning things to keep the status quo, or questioning things to challenge and try something new?
So is there a difference? And
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if you're looking for somebody who is looking to keep the status quo, or like we've always done it this way, when I was in school, we did it this way, and this kind of stuff. And that's what I mean by status quo.
Yep.
They're looking to replicate the great learning experiences that they had as students. Mm-hmm. And they were great. I loved my teachers when I was in middle school, but man, that was in the 80s. What in the world? We can't bring that here. We can't do that. I couldn't even do that in the 1990s when I started teaching, so we can't do that now. So we have to be ready to unlearn things that we unlearn things that we were taught and that we held dearly, and then relearn relevant skills that our learners need. So that's one of the things we talk about in the revolution is developing a lens for what's relevant, and then stick it to it. Because once we know what's relevant, and we can personalize learning for kids, then we can make them hungry. And then we won't hold them back. We can hold them back if we tried. Yeah. So status quo is one thing, but innovators, people who are on the other end, who are, hey, I've heard about makerspaces. Can I try to build one in my room? Or hey, I heard about this robotics kit. Can I use this to tie in a lesson on the weather? Please, yeah, absolutely. You want to buy another kit, or what can I what day you doing it? Can I come and play and hang out, kind of thing,
Yeah.
So Todd Whitaker writes about this. You don't spend time. No, I was about to say that a very wrong way.
You elevate those people that are willing to take those chances, and you kind of forget about the rest. Yeah.
You don't kind of forget about them. You just give them. You just put less time with them. Yeah,
Yeah,
you put more of your time and energy and love with the people who are going in the direction that you want, or that your school needs to go in. Yeah.
absolutely.
And you put minimal and different energy with the people who are stuck with
There
the
you go.
status quo.
Yeah, you
Because
don't let them consume 90% of your
go,
time, which is what typically happens. Sure.
boom, they drain.
That's
They drain. Complaining is a drain. Reminiscing about the one classroom schoolhouse, little house on the prairie is a drain. Anybody got time? So what?
yeah,
So what if it was? So what if everybody was smiling and looked and it was the same color and looked? So what?
right.
That is so irrelevant now. We got to do right by the kids in your room who need uh, learning experiences that are relevant and it's going to mean something for them.
So good. And, in the real world, every great revolution starts in the grassroots. It starts from the people bubbling up, and you are here preaching about a revolution. And your goal is to try to get these teachers fired up from the grassroots to take charge and to change some things. But sometimes these teachers feel like they're the ones that are being silenced because uh, maybe the people more elevated than them in the hierarchy want to maintain that status quo, and they're the ones that these revolutionaries are the ones that are seen as the drains because they're always wanting something different. They always want to try something new, and they're always speaking up and asking, why do we have to do this? How do you encourage them to continue to take those chances? You said that you poke the bear and you were this agitator, and sometimes there are some teachers out there that are just dying to do that, but there's also that fear. They don't want to be that person in a staff meeting that stands out and asks the why question. They don't want to be that one person in the hallway that tries something different and has to answer to the parents about why they're doing things different than the way school was done when they were there. How do you, what is your message to those people? How do you fan their flames to say, no, go take that chance?
Um, Great question. That's good stuff. Before I get to that answer, though, I want to circle all the way back to something I said in the beginning,
Yeah.
and you kind of hit on it. So if you look historically, I was a political science major in college. You look back historically, revolutions actually start in the middle class.
Mm,
They don't start in the with the lower class. They start
yep.
in the middle class. The middle class actually has time and some resources to question
Yep.
and to start a movement.
Yep.
Um, so that was gonna be one of the top. That was the title of the book option. Starting, what was it? It starts in the middle. It starts in the middle. Middle school,
There you go.
because this is largely a middle school book.
Yeah.
This is where most of our opportunity is, because we have such a management mindset for our middle schoolers. Instead of these 11, 12, 13-year-olds are on fire, we just need to give them direction.
Yeah.
So let's give them a push, let's give them a cause and get out of the way.
Yep.
Now, okay, anyway, so for your question about what do we tell those teachers who want to do, and they need that push, you tell them, hey, um, I, you're already running ahead of everybody else. Okay, you're thinking ahead of everybody else. You want to try it. I'm not only am I right there with you, I'm going to be pushing you even further. What do you need from me? How can we help? And you want everybody to understand. You want everybody to understand that there is an acceptance and a culture of learning through failure, but you want them to really, really understand. Hey, you're really going to be trying new things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Don't listen to the naysayers when you don't get the result you want the first time. Here's your support network. We got your back.
Yeah.
All right. And not when they, but when everybody else sees that learn through failure model, and when everybody else sees that learn through failure attempts, and that we're celebrating the attempts. Nobody cares about. Very rarely do we care about the outcomes. We're not looking for outcomes. We're looking at the attempts, because the kids win from the attempts.
Mm-hmm.
We want to put a message out there of attempts. So keep trying, keep pushing, and then showcase your kids. And as they showcase kids, me as a leader, I'm showcasing those teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mr. David tried this today. Look at the smile on the kids' faces. Look at how they were. Look at all the productive struggle going on in the room. Look at all the relevant learning experiences. Look at how technology is being used to connect learners with some real life problems and whatnot, and to showcase the students learning in different ways. Look at all this awesome stuff. And in my last schools, my last school, we did a bi-weekly blog. My school before that, we did a weekly blog. And there was a section on there that we just highlighted great things we saw in teachers' classrooms. We just if it was a picture or a video, we put it out there. Said, hey, this teacher killed it. Awesome stuff. It's wonderful. So we made them heroes.
Yeah.
And we didn't shoot down anybody. We just told great hero stories.
Okay.
And that's what needs to happen. That's the best part. We have to see the exemplars.
Yep.
And we have to tell people about the exemplars. The exemplars are not about test scores. The exemplars are about putting learner needs first. And
Right.
Here's how it looks.
That's right. Yeah, our job is to tell the stories that other stories can be written. That's exactly it. And I love your opportunity to, how you say you celebrate the middle. And I'll be honest, as a middle school principal, one of the reasons it was my favorite job is because typically, and this is going to sound bad, but it's the truth, people don't care about the middle school, which gives you tremendous freedom. Tremendous freedom. You know, the parents are all worried about high school and all the varsity sports and kindergarten and early elementary. Middle school is where so much magic happens. And we have those tentacles where we connect up. So the products that we create, the kiddos that we create, go up to the high school. And we also set the expectation for what the elementaries need to start preparing their kids for. So sometimes you have to embrace the fact that other people don't notice you, because that's where you can do some real magic. When I also spent some time as an elementary principal, and I used to really tap into my second grade teachers, because down in Florida, second grade is the one grade in elementary school where there's no assessment. There's no mandatory retention. There's nothing. So second grade, this is where we're going to put some innovative people that are just going to go big or go home, and we can start duplicating and replicating success. You got to find those little sweet spots at the high school level. Tap into those 10th grade teachers. There's no ACT or SAT. You don't have all the freshman hormones you're dealing with. Tap into those sweet spots and take those chances, and things just magically grow from there. And that's kind of what you just said to me. You said, you find those people and you just roll with it, especially in the middle. That's cool. That's awesome, man.
We do. So our book is a K-12 message. I want to give a shout out to Darren Elwayne, the co-author. If you're not connected to Darren, please, let me tell you, his school is doing the fantastic middle school work, period. They are doing we were doing some, I knew we were doing some great stuff, but when I connected with Darren and saw what was really going on, I was like, man, because it's a true. Can you really just totally flip the middle school model? Yes. Does it have to be? No. It's totally different. Can you believe our middle schoolers are different? No, they're not. All of us can do different things. My favorite grade level group is the sixth graders. Mm-hmm. Once you can untrain, deprogram teachers out of that mindset of when those sixth graders come in, keep them in line. And once you get that out of sixth grade teachers, and hey, make it about love, make it about having a culture in the classroom the kids that are on fire to come to. Make it about pushing kids, sometimes maybe a little too hard to see what they do, but always have a hug for them. Make them on fire. Make them on fire to investigate. Not take a test, but investigate and research and then present. You do that for sixth graders. By the time they cycle up to eighth grade, man, you have a fire of a school. Right. And sixth graders come to middle school scared and a little lonely. Mm-hmm. So when you say, hey, no, this is the spot you want to be in, and here's why. You guys are going to do this. let them create, let them explore and get passionate. It's going to be it's fantastic stuff. It really is. And then you just develop fearless eighth graders.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need. We don't do enough of we don't do enough of purposefully developing student advocacy skills in our students, and we don't even think about that at the middle school level. Hmm. But a good middle schooler will tell off an adult in a good way and make a good point. That's when you know you have a good revolution on your hands. That's the truth.
That's a big one. There's some people listening to that right now saying, "Uh-oh, you had me." You explain that a little bit more. Explain that.
So let me talk about my good friend Darren L. Wayne and his school.
Yeah.
All right. So Darren's school, entire school, has a focus on, and they're in South Dakota. They're about as landlocked as you can get, right?
Yep.
They're on the plastics pollution mission and drive that is going to change the world. They take trips. He's a middle schooler. He's a middle school principal. They take trips to Honduras, present at conferences. They've had their state legislators in their school. The kids make the presentations. The learners drive everything every day. So check this out, David. Just like when you started at school, there were 58 electives. Is that right?
Elective, yep.
Yeah. So every day, students in Darren's school pick their schedule for the day. It's a different schedule.
Wow.
I had a good friend, Glenn Robbins. Before he became superintendent, he was a principal at a middle school where they did ed camp. But he called it ed camp for the day. They did ed camp, I think, every week. I don't think they did it every day, but I think, anyway, they did it regularly. Well, this is part of their personalized learning journey and what they do. So the kids own everything. They own their learning. They can talk about their growth. They can talk about their development. They can talk about their passions. And they're developing, and they're connected to global learning, to global causes.
Yeah.
So student advocacy is a big part. Is a big part. Student advocacy, student voice and choice. That's a big part of our book. I think people are afraid to talk about middle schoolers as developing advocacy skills in middle schoolers. The frenetic monsters and hormonal blah 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 blah.
Yep.
But that's where the passion. All that is undirected passion. Mm-hmm. Give them a direction, give them a platform, make that happen. Everybody listening to this should contact Darren.
Truly, Darren, when your email blows up here, but yeah.
That's right. That's right. I want to blow Darren's email.
Give a text when we're done here and warn him.
Hit him up on Twitter. And right now, we're developing some workshops for the power of maker spaces in schools, the power of all these things that we're talking about right now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, hit them up. It's great stuff. I'm telling you, your mind will be blown by the things that his school and his district is doing. And I don't want to make this, and he doesn't want to make this about him. This is about his learners. It's great stuff our kids can do.
Mm-hmm. True story. If you're going to believe that your teachers can start a revolution, you got to believe that your students can too. You're trying to create symbiosis where they're growing from each other. Your students are pushing your teachers, and your teachers are pushing your students, and that's where change begins. So, and you're dropping so much truth here. I feel like you and we could just be talking for hours and hours and hours. But unfortunately, the people that are listening, their notebooks are going to be full, just writing down all these quotes from you, because it's just like, amen. It's like when I'm sitting in church and I'm just writing down everything, and the preacher says something else. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's another one. Another good
exactly.
one.
You didn't bring a note. That's right. You didn't bring in a notepad to write anything on. You just write on the back of an envelope. Yeah, I got you.
Exactly, right. Sorry, you're not getting my tie today. I got my notes all over it. But that's how I feel right now. I feel bad for the people that are listening to this while they're driving somewhere because they're pausing it and like going to their voice memo and just nonstop here. So we're gonna have to connect again in the near future so you can drop some more truth. But I warned you when we started that I was gonna give you a moment when we got all done here to drop 30 seconds worth of just Derek McCoy goodness, some truth. I tell people every week this is the most popular podcast on the planet, and it's going to be someday because I keep bringing
there you go.
I keep bringing amazing people like you on that people are just gravitated to. You are changing people's lives and their destinies, and just giving them a renewed fire for their professions, and they latch on to this stuff. And I want the last words they hear from you just to be like that mic drop moment where you sucked them in for the last however long this has been, and now this is your chance to say, boom, this is what I need you to take. This is what's going to cause that revolution. This is what's going to change the world. What do you got for them?
Perfect. And 30 seconds starts now.
30 seconds starts whenever we get there. You're good.
I got you. So we have a saying, don't be the teacher you had as a student, be the revolutionary your learners need. Don't let your own great K-12 learning experiences preclude what you are going to do with your students. Let your students' needs in today's world drive the learning experiences that you build for your learners. They need something relevant and global and deep to help serve them as adults. And you can be the revolutionary to provide it. So connect with us. We're there to pump our fists with you and get it going.
That's it. That's good, man. So good. So those of you that are listening, tomorrow's the day. You can wait another year to start your revolution, but by then it's going to have passed you by. And the fight's going to be that much harder. So today, tomorrow, that's when you start asking those questions. That's when you start making some of those changes. Dip your toe in the water if you need to, but I guarantee you the water's warm. It's perfect. The conditions are absolutely ideal for you today and tomorrow to go try something new. Don't wait. Just do it.
Think about the kids that are sitting in front of you right now. Look them in their eyes and say, no, I'm going to wait to provide better learning experiences for the next group.
Right.
Be about the kids in front of you. Connect with us, Twitter, Instagram, email. We're there for you, and we'll do it. We'll do it together. Revolutions aren't sustained by one person.
That's right.
We're doing this as a group, so we're here for you.
That's good, man. That's awesome. Derek, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you lighting that fire back within me, making me feel empowered to go big or go home tomorrow. I've got 4 kids that live in my house that deserve the absolute best for me tomorrow. I can't wait another year to start being a great parent. And the kids that I serve on a day-to-day basis deserve me to be on my best tomorrow as well. It's not fair for me to say, oh, next year I'll implement this. Because right. There's a lot of kids that are gone. So I got to bring it tomorrow. That was awesome, man. I appreciate you. Like you have no idea. You're preaching the educational gospel, and I'm a believer, man. I am on the revolution, and I am here with you.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And that's what we want. We didn't want this just to be about telling some good stories, or because it's not just in the stories that we've done. We have stories in here from revolutionaries doing that work right now. Other people. Yeah. We want this to make real. We want this to be about real things that people can do right now. So it's as much as a account as it is a primer for to help people get their revolution started.
That's good. That's good, man. Well, again, thank you so much. And for those of you tuning in, again, connect with this man, follow his journey. Just look at his tweets. If you took nuggets of truth from everything he was saying today, and like me, you ran out of room in your notebook, go capture 280 characters at a time, read his tweets. They'll fire you up. They'll get you going too. So Derek McCoy, changing the world one kid at a time, man. Awesome.
Thank you for having me. You guys have a great evening. Start your revolution.